Ideal&Adharsh Vidyalaya Matriculation online class. Standard 8, Subject Science, Unit 5, Movements. In this class we are going to see about movements in human body. Human beings can move some parts of their body parts in different direction. At the same time, some body parts can be moved only particular direction. Our body is made up of a skeletal framework which helps in the movement of the body. Some of the movements in body parts of human are movement of eyelids, movement of the heart muscles, movement of teeth and jaw, movement of arms and legs, movement of head, movement of neck. Types of movement. Different types of movement that is seen in the body of human beings. Basically, there are three types of movement seen in the cells of human body. They are amoeboid movement, ciliary movement, muscular movement. Let us see one by one. First is amoeboid movement. As the name itself suggests, amoeboid movement is movement like amoeba. Amoeba moves with the help of false feet or pseudopodia like that. In our body, the white blood corpuscles are moving like amoeba. Ciliary movement. Cilia are the small bristle-like structures present in the organisms like paramecia, which is useful for their locomotion. Some cells of human body are also ciliated. That is, they have cilia. Example, the trachea of the respiratory tract. There is a windpipe is lined by cilia and helps in trapping of dust particle by its ciliary movement. Muscular movement. The movement takes place by the contraction of muscles. Most of the movements in our body is enabled by these muscular movements. Next is joints. In the human body, one bone is connected to the other with the help of joints for giving movements of the body. Joints are the places where two or more bones meet. Muscles are attached to the bones and the joints allows movement. Different types of joints allows different types of movements. What is joint? The places where two or more bones come together is known as joints. These joints are the part of body which are made up of different types of bones which provide flexibility to our body. The bones coming together at a point are held in a place with the help of tissues known as ligaments. Different joints offer different amount of flexibility and movements. On the basis of freedom of movements allowed by joints, we can classify joints as three types. They are immovable or fixed joints, slightly movable joints, and freely movable joints. First is fixed or immovable joints. These are fixed joints. They do not allow any movements, so they are also called as immovable joints. The edges of these joints are tightly interlocked. For example, skull bones. Slightly movable joints. These are cartilaginous joints. Some bones are joined with the help of cartilages. These joints allows only limited movements. Example, joints between the bones of backbones and joints between the ribs and breastbone. The next type is freely movable joints. These are synovial joints. In this type, varying degree of movements is possible between the two bones forming the joints. There are 6 types of movable joints. Let us see one by one. First is ball and socket joint. In this joint, end of one bone is round like a ball and it fixed into socket of other bone. It allows movement in different direction and maximum movement. Example, hip bone and shoulder bone. Pivot joint, it allows movement of left and right, up and down. Example, joint between head and neck. Hinge joint. It allows movement in only one direction, which is up and down or backward and forward, like a hinges of a door. Example, elbow, knees, ankle. Gliding joint. This formed between bones which are flat or nearly flat, enabling the bones to slide to each other. This type of joints provide only a small amount of gliding movement. For example, spine, that is between the bony processes of the vertebrae. Saddle joint. In this type, one bone is concave at one end and looks like a saddle. The other end is convex and looks like a rider in a saddle. This can be found in thumb joint. It consists of an oval-shaped end of one bone fitting into similarly oval halo of another bone. For example, the joints of the wrist. We can move them both side to side and up and down. Next is synovial joint. Ankle, elbow, knee, shoulder, wrist. All have freely moving joints. These types of joints are also known as synovial joints. We know that when two surfaces move on each other, there is always wear and tear because of friction. At freely movable joints, there is a lot of free movements between the bones. These joints have special structures which prevent bones from getting wearing off. At the joint, ends of the bones are covered with articular cartilage tissue. This tissue is very slippery and reduces any friction between the bones. In some bones, such as vertebral column, articular tissue acts as cushion to absorb shocks. Bones at synovial joints are joined together with ligament tissue in addition to cartilage joint cavity, which is also known as synovial cavity, is filled with synovial fluid, which further decreases the friction between the bones. To store synovial fluid, synovial cavity is surrounded by a joint capsule. In a layer of joint capsule is called synovial membrane, whereas outer layer is called articular capsule. Articular capsule holds the bones in place and provides stability to joint.